on to the next room. Yeah. Welcome to the next row. From the field on my way to the next row. Welcome to the next row.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Next Row. I'm your host. Today we have an incredible guest, founder of Lights Out Extreme Fighting, all-pro, played in the NFL for a long time. Please welcome Lights Out, Shawne Merriman. Shawne, good to have you, my brother. How you doing?
Doing good?
Yeah, everything good, man. Good to have. I know you're a busy man. It's hard to catch you nowadays, man. You're all over.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
No, that's awesome. Hey, Shawne, tell me before we get into it, I want to know, how did you get the name Lights Out? Where did that come from?
It's funny, man. You probably notice, a lot of the public don't, but my nickname used to be Pepco, which is a light and gas electricity company back in Maryland, the DMV. That's when I was growing up, and then my sophomore year at Frederick Douglass in Upper Marlboro, I ended up knocking out 4 kids in the game. And so that nickname, Lights Out, came to me about all the students. Of 20, 25 students come running to me after the game and say, you knocked those kids' lights out. And I just looked at them and said, you know what, call me Lights Out. And it's been Pepco all the way up until that point, man. So a lot of people don't know that, everybody kind of called me Pep early on, and then, Lights Out came around. So Lights Out stuck.
No, that's awesome. So as you were growing up, so no one ever called you Merriman or Sean or anything like that? It was just always Lights Out.
It was always my family. My family always called me Sean or Shawnee, and then everybody around the neighborhood. But anybody outside of that, man, it was always Lights, like shit, when we were around, man, the coaches and everybody, was always Lights. And it's almost weird when I hear somebody say Sean now. It's almost like I've known her for like more than 20 years, or something like that, because it's one of those things that most people call me Lights, and that stuck most of the time.
You know what? It's a feeling you get, because growing up, my name was Duke. They used to call me Little Duke. My dad was Duke. So whenever I'm walking down the street and I hear somebody say Duke, I know it's somebody from back home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because those are the only ones that really know. Kind of from that. And, but yeah, man, you grow up in the area, especially like where we grew up, having those names is earned. It's like having a basketball name at Rutgers, man. You better be to go out there and earn that name. So it's kind of cool to have that transaction there.
No, that's dope. That's dope. That's awesome. Then you went on and you did some incredible things in high school, then went on to college. And after college, the pros. We all know what you did in college. But that 2005 to 2007 stretch that you had, I mean, dude, you were unstoppable, man. What was your mindset every Sunday?
And I said this before, seeing you every day in school, and then us competing, going back and forth, and then how hard our practices used to be. We practiced. Some of our practices were harder than the game. So by the time I got to the pros, it was like light work for me. It was like the pros want you to go out and make plays. And I also felt like I was, kind of an undercover secret of what I did in college, because of the scheme that we played. I was playing more of a like a Leo outside linebacker position. And so, it was one of those things where I got to the pros, man. I was pro ready, if that makes any sense to anybody. Like I was already living like a pro. My mindset was a pro. I was like walking in, like this is where I'm supposed to be, man. So I had a fast start.
So fast. So you were ready right away. As soon as that rookie year you came in, you were just ready to go as far as your mindset and what you really wanted for yourself.
Yeah, because I don't know if y'all remember, but I was on campus with Ray Lewis and LeVar Arrington, and those were like mentors of mine. And so during the off seasons, I would work out with them sometime. I would go to I would look at playbooks and stuff then. So my mind was already kind of getting me prepared for the pros. And when I got to the pros, it's system, all the defense is still important, but they want you to go make plays. And I wasn't used to that. In college, it was very systematic. They want me to be in a certain position, and that's what the defense is. That's what you run. In the pros, it was like, man, look, you almost 6'5" and two down there 270 and can run. We want you to go make plays, man. So the pros are actually more suitable for me than college was.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So when did you realize in football that you were building a brand? Did you know, because Lights Out is one thing, you probably had that follow you, But then at some point you probably realize that, oh, this is not just a name. I can make this into a brand.
You know, Vern, I don't know if y'all remember this or not, but I used to wear the G Unit tank tops when they first came out, and when we were in school, I had a look.
G-Unit.
I had the first G Unit tank tops, and I took those G Unit tank tops and I put like a bedazzled lights out logo and stuff on it. This when we were in school. And so I knew I had a brand back then, but we didn't like nobody taught us apparel. Nobody taught us, retail and dealing with stores and all that stuff was kind of self learned and got with some very experienced and smart people. But I was building a brand back then with the whole dance and the moniker and the mohawk and I thought it was a brand that was going to be a lot bigger than what I could ever be. Lights Out to be around for another 150 years. People will still be talking about Lights Out, whether it's involving me or not, and for a long time. And so I realized I had a brand, I just didn't know it. But it wasn't until I got to the NFL where I bought the name and rights and trademarks to Lights Out in like 2005, 2006. And that's when I officially went to go own my name. And I thought that was, for me, was like super important.
Bro, I've been around you, bro. Like, to me, like there's a lot, there's players who come in and they get big, you know what I mean? They had their time, I had my time in San Francisco at my highest when, people would leave brownies on my doorstep in front of my garage. Like you in San Diego, you were like Hollywood Hulk Hogan, bro. Like everywhere you went from San Diego to LA. I mean, I remember when I got drafted, I said, okay, I can hang with this dude now. So my first day I hit you up, I said, Shawne, where you at? You introduced me to your teammates. I started hanging with y'all. And I had a chance to see kind of like what the life was as an NFL player. You know what I mean? There's a lot that goes on that a lot of people don't understand. Like, we got to make sure that we stay focused out here because when you that high up, bro, when you making plays, you got a name for yourself. Everybody love you, and from LA to San Diego all the way down, everybody had nothing but love for you, Shawne Merriman, good dude. You know what I'm saying? But what was that like, bro? Like, what was that feeling like when you was at your highest moment, when you just felt like you could probably leave your door unlocked at night and not worry because ain't nobody coming in, or it's almost if you probably felt like somebody was always watching your back because you was that high up. You know what I'm saying? What was that like?
Vern, it's crazy because like nobody can prepare you. Nobody really can say, oh, okay, this is gonna happen. You need to watch out for this. You need to be more cautious here because I didn't know anybody around other than Ray Lewis and LeVar Arrington that's been in that situation before. None of my like intermediate friends or nobody family members that say, hey, when you get your first couple $1 million, this is how you're supposed to act or this is how you're supposed to do. So you pair that with having stardom and you got money, and then also too, we not lanes, right? Like we come from the crib from DC, Maryland, Virginia. Like we're accustomed to being around, the city and different lifestyles. And so early on, I struggled with it. You know what I mean? Early on, it was difficult because you're not thinking straight. First of all, at the time, I'm 20 years old. I was the youngest drafted NFL player ever at the time. You know what I'm saying? So you're trying to figure out life as a 20, 21-year-old. And also you got stardom, you get some money. I'm on TV a lot because I was doing a lot of, acting or sitcoms or shows. Like I had I had the whole mix that was going on at one point. So that feeling is unexplainable. So going through that and learning through that process, and I talk to guys now because now social media is big and like guys that got their own brands. We kind of did this shit, man, before it was cool. We were doing it before it was a thing. Now you get applauded for having a brand. When I did it, it was more like, oh, who you think he is self-promotion, right? And now it's like, yeah, they're telling all these guys to build their brands. They're telling all these guys to have all these endorsement deals and do stuff off the field. It was almost like I got penalized for it at that time. But, times change.
Yeah, no, that's dope. That's dope. And now here you are, you transition from a linebacker to a businessman. What was the biggest challenge for you?
Honestly, man, we're so used and so accustomed to doing things the right way, by hard work, dedication, staying disciplined, waking up at a certain time, going to sleep at a certain time, doing all the stuff we needed to do. And, you come out here to this business world, ain't nothing but sharp. You know what I mean? Like there's very little team. It's a lot about me and I and who can get the best deal and who like you had to kind of you got to kind of be able to swim with sharks. And so I had the business mentality already. But again, if no one told you how to do a lot of this stuff, I mean, no one told me and showed me how to launch a MMA organization or to negotiate these TV deals or dealing with sponsors and all the stuff that I'm building now. or even going to stores when I was selling at Tilly's and DTLR. I was selling in over 320 stores in the country at one time. And so these are things that, I had to get with people who was experienced in doing and then kind of take off. But nobody told us that early on. So that process is where what was difficult. But you break through that, man, along with who we are and in our experience, you're going to be extremely successful.
No, that's dope. That's dope. And then the inspiration for creating this whole brand, Lights Out Extreme Fighting. What inspired you to do that? Where did that come from?
Well, I've been growing up in the crib, man, in that DMV area. First of all, you better learn how to fight. That's one. I got family who were professional boxers, so I've been around boxing since I was a kid. But I started to train MMA, in the mid 2000s during the off season with Randy Couture, and I was around Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, Tyron Woodley. I mean, a lot of the big names around the mid to late 2000s. And I wanted to launch something that was a big sports property, but also my second passion. Bro, I believe that if I didn't go to the NFL, I would have been boxing or I would have been doing MMA myself. And so it truly is like my second passion. But being able to turn it into a national, international brand is what I've done over these last, few years by launching my own network with Lights Out Sports TV, having partners like Fubo. We're on UFC Fight Pass, BN Sports. We're announcing another big TV partner here in the next few weeks. So all of those things, man, for one, I don't know everything, but I hired the best people I could put around us, and we built something special.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Is there any similarities between running a defense to running a fight league?
Honestly, bro, there's a lot of similarities in what we did to business and life. And I used to get annoyed when people keep bringing up these analogies between football and business and stuff because you felt like they're just looking at you as a football player. And the only thing you understand is football terms. But after I kind of got more into it, there was a lot of similarities with just business and life and football. There was a one big similarity is like all dedication and, being on time. Just little stuff that most people find it difficult to do. It's just come easy for us. So there's a lot of similarities in making that transition.
So the similarities between Mason. So was there ever, so making that transition, right, Shawne? There's, I dealt with, so when I retired and left the game in 2020, I decided to go on, do films and television and all that stuff. So, but there was like this anxiety that came across me. And I felt like, I don't know what it was, but I was like, there was like a fear that I had because I went from football, every day we have a routine, get up at 6 a.m, go in, don't finish it till 4 p.m. And it's a routine every year we repeat that. Is there a feeling that did you ever feel that anything like that when you retired, you walked away?
Yeah, because, for one, and what we're doing, there's no certainty, right? All the auditions and stuff you had to go to, like, it's almost you had to go recreate yourself. You had to go recreate another lane. And in order for you to get respected in that lane, you almost, in a sense, got to work 10 times harder because they look at you as, Vernon Davis, a football player. They look at you as Shawne Merriman, a football player. Like, how does he know, for me, how does he know how to run an organization? How does he know how to go out and make hires? How does he know how to negotiate these TV partnerships and broadcast deals? So, for me, I've always felt like that anxiety came early on for me is that you got to break the mold. Because you are, regardless of if you want to realize it or not, you're looked at a certain way walking in the door. In order for you to get that respect as somebody that's successful in that area, it's even harder because you got to get out of that, what people know you as, into being great at something else instead of making your name as an actor, making your name as a business owner, right? Like, take Dana White. Dana White is known for the UFC. He is who everybody knew him to be at first. And when I first started out, it was like you just said, a former linebacker for the NFL that's now running the MMA organization that's now into business. So for me to make that transition, I feel like I have to do 10 times as much as everybody else to get that same level of credibility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I got you. And did you feel that same way as you were coming into sports, into college and into the pros? Is that the same feeling you got then?
Yeah, for sure. Because when I first got to Maryland, like Dominique Foxworth and who's it, Carone Cox, EJ, like nobody wanted to call me Lights Out. You understand? Like I had to earn, the name when I got there. When I got to the pros, the same thing with LaDainian Thompson, Antonio Gates, Jamal Williams, Phillip Rivers. They ain't want to call me Lights Out either. It was almost like you have to earn, and that's really, honestly, man. That's if you want to really sum me up in a nutshell, man. Like I'll go out and earn everything to set the table. I don't ask for anything, and I want to be the biggest and the best in what I do. And so, whatever it takes for me to do that, I'll get it done because we're used to when we talk about the correlations between what we did. We're used to dealing with adversity. We used to having to go earn a spot. Um, we're used to having to go and fight. That's all we know how to get to where we want to go, man. And that's probably been my biggest help in business and everything else. All I do is know how to fight and earn, what I want.
That's powerful, man. That's very, very powerful. And let me go back in time real quick. Everyone has this thing that motivates them to and drives them to get what it is that they want. So a lot of people, some people know, a lot of people don't know. You grew up in the Washington, D.C. area, right? And that was one of the roughest areas there is, and we have this thing about us. As we grow, we get older, we develop ourselves as human beings and people, but a lot of people don't know our past and our story.
Yeah.
What was it? Who was it that motivates you? Is it a family member? Is it a situation you may have been in? What was that?
Yeah, man. I mean, we lost our house because our house had burned down, and then it left us, me, my sister, my mom, homeless. Well, we went to go stay in shelters. We went to sleep back in the cars, and then finally, my high school coaches, kind of took me in, and my sister went with my grandmother, so we kind of split up, so we had a place to go. And I think that when those type of things happen to you at some point, you remember those feelings, and you never want to go back there. But also, too, I look at it, if you start to make it through those situations, those things that a lot of people, most people don't have to deal with. If you make it through those things, you can make it through a lot. And so that layer of skin is already built up. As you just said, man, growing up in PG County, in the late 80s and 90s when it was real bad, going to eat crabs at Haynes Point and Anacostia Park with my mom, going down Benton Road or Berry Farms, when I was growing up in Capitol Heights and Forestville. Like these are all rough parts, man, where I think that once you learn how to navigate and survive, it adds this layer of skin that people don't. And just to your point of what you just said, I think a lot of people, when they start seeing your current and recent success, they forget. Like they just don't know. When I go out and I'm grinding as hard as I am, or my staff or my employees, my team are looking at me and saying, I'm just an animal. I'm a vicious animal to just love to work and grind. I said, that didn't just start. That came from me, it being built on things I've been through in my life. That's the only thing I know. A lot of make of what you just said.
That's powerful, man. And for me, Shawne, it was a simple fact that I grew up watching my mom struggle with drugs, my dad living around the corner, my grandparents raising me in the house with my 6 siblings. So that was something that initially sparked, the motivation behind me to want to just change the dynamics of how I was living. But then as I continued to just build and just grow and evolve, that started to change at some point. My kids came into the mix. Then they became my motivation. Then my motivation was me leaving behind an incredible legacy in the NFL. I wanted to go to the Hall of Fame. I wanted to be an all-pro, similar to yourself. This is Vernon Davis, and going online without ExpressVPN is like not closing the door when you use the bathroom. Even if you think you have nothing to hide, why give random creeps a chance to invade your privacy? ExpressVPN reroutes 100% of your traffic through secure encrypted servers, so your ISP can't see your browsing history. It hides your IP address, making it extremely difficult for third parties to track your online activity. And guess what? It's at the lowest price ever. Plans start at just $3.49 a month. That's only 12 cents a day. So what are you waiting for? It's so easy to use. Fire up the app and click one button to get protected. There's no way I'm getting on the internet without using ExpressVPN. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/nextroll. That's EXPRESSVPN.com/nextroll. expressvpn.com/nextroll to find out how you can get up to 4 extra months. Just go to expressvpn.com/nextroll. Welcome back to Next Row. I'm your host, Vernon Davis. Today, we have someone who's truly special. This man has done so many things. He's still going. WWE, back in the day, he played football, track, wrestled. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Adam Scherr.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Vernon. Thanks for having me on the show, brother.
Absolutely. Adam, look, man, we appreciate you for coming on. I know you're busy, man. You got a lot going on nowadays, and, man, it's an honor to have you.
Truly, the honor's mine, my friend. Thank you. But, yeah, you're definitely right. Busy, but it's awesome, like I said, to slip in to have a chance to talk with you as a fan of your career as well and stuff like that. So, man, it's cool to be able to sit down and talk with you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I'm going to start this off by asking you, Adam, what's the earliest memory you have of when you first stepped foot in the gym?
Oh, man, when I first stepped foot in the gym, probably 12 to 13-year-old fat little Adam that was tired of being bullied for being fat at school. I had a couple other friends that went to the local gym, and I went in and basically asked how to get into shape so I could beat up the bullies that were beating me up, and the child mentality that was, realizing that's not how the world works. But the man, the myth, the legend, my sensei, Mike Keever, that owns Iron Physique in Denver, North Carolina, saw a lost kid looking for an opportunity, and he extended the biggest olive branch. Without a doubt, I am nowhere in my life without that man. He helped me out in a place in a dark time when I was lost and looking for, a light at the end of the tunnel, and he gave it to me. He gave me an out to get away, which was the gym that I really, really found solace in. I really, really found my stride. I found confidence in myself, and so many amazing things have come out of that. But yeah, definitely that young kid looking to change his physique, change his life, and boy, did it ever.
Yeah, when you say change your physique and change your life, what was going on at the time when you thought, hey, I need to change my life? What was that?
It was just being picked on for I was the husky kid, so I was the one that everybody liked to pick on. I was terrified to take my t-shirt off, going to the swimming pools and stuff like that, just very self-conscious, which ended up, didn't realize the body dysmorphia that I would later on just develop from that and all this other stuff. So it was that wanting to stop being picked on, wanting to prove people wrong, which I've come to really enjoy doing in life because I've had many opportunities to doubt all the naysayers and the people that thought I couldn't do what I can do. That was the main reason, was just wanting to change myself, just stop being picked on, stop being unhealthy, and get back to sports and stuff, because I never lifted weights. I played football, all pee-wee football, all growing up, but I got lost for a little bit in life. When I turned early teens, I got into doing some drugs and drinking, and grew up way, way too fast and got lost and stuff like that, and then was heavy to begin with, so then the being bullied and all this other stuff, then realizing that, and then, kind of proverbially kicking out of all that, realizing the people I was hanging out with at the time were bad to be around, the habits that I were forming were bad, the eating, all this other stuff, and then, like you said, getting into the gym completely literally changed my life.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, man. That's amazing. Was there ever a moment? What was the moment when, during your strongman days, where you realized that, hey, wrestling is probably the way I want to go?
So it's with strongman, man, it was such an awesome time in my life and career and things like that, because that's really where I started to find my stride. I was always kind of this sheltered little introvert, even though I was this gigantic human being. When I graduated high school at 17 years old, I was 6'5" and 305 pounds at 17, but still shy because I still carried all that weight of being bullied when I was younger and all this stuff. And now I'm starting to catch my stride, get into shape. And then when I dove into the strongman world, I actually found a place, I think, for the first time. Like, I always fit in. I thought I did, at least playing football and baseball and all this stuff. But for some odd reason, strongman and the camaraderie around that, and the gentlemen that I got to compete against and travel around the world and stuff, really, really opened my eyes. And then being good at it and being really good at it quick gave me this self-confidence that I never had in my entire life, and made me finally realize, like, shit, like, I'm really, really good at this. Like, I was good at football, but I was a punk, and I didn't do my school, so I didn't have an opportunity to play past high school. I didn't meet NCAA requirements. I started to go to community college to try and fix all that, and realized, like, all right, I've had enough schooling of this thing. So started working on cars and yada, 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 working in nightclubs, and fell into the strongman stuff, and then competed as a strongman in a matter of 2 years, no one's ever done what I did in the sport, from becoming amateur to turning pro, winning North America's Strongest Man, winning the Arnold Amateur World Championship, and then signing with WWE the following year after that. Because at the time, in the strongman world, social media was just starting to grow. There were no podcasts. There was no way to make any kind of outside income off of it other than the competitions. And most of the time, you're just competing for a trophy, which I have tons of trophies, but at the end of the day, you can't eat trophies. So it was that struggle of wanting to continue to compete, but I didn't know how to financially be able to support myself, because at a pro level in strongman, it is your full-time job. You're training, you're eating. That's all you're doing all day long, getting ready for these competitions, and trying to balance that with having a, excuse me, a 9-to-5 job. I just couldn't do it. And so I was choosing at that time in my life, what do I want to do? Well, I know I love doing strongman, but I don't know if I can continue to do this because I can't financially support myself doing it. And then I had this opportunity. I was a World's Strongest Man in 2012, and WWE was out there recruiting. And I mean, what kid at some point in their life didn't want to be a WWE superstar? I beg to differ that any grown man that's ever played any sport at some point in their life has either mimicked or wanted to be a WWE superstar. And well, it really piqued my interest. I said, you know what? I love strongman, but I'm struggling to survive with this. I know there's a lot of money to be made at WWE. Let's give it a shot. Went down in, let's see, was that December of 2012, did a kind of a tryout at FCW in Florida. I was 405 pounds at the time and stuff like that, because I was getting ready for the Arnold Pro show in 2013. So I come in, walk around, and it was all, yeah, just got an opportunity to cut a promo for Dusty Rhodes and all this other stuff, and they liked what they saw. And I wanted to do the one more strongman competition, so I did the Arnold Pro in 2013. Unfortunately, on the second event, I was trying to break the Atlas Stone world record warming up. My bicep tore. So it kind of put an end to that right then and there. And then
Hey, Adam, I think you're breaking up a little bit. It sounds kind of robotic. He hopped off. He left off.
All right, I don't know what happened. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay,
Your service was sounding kind of robotic.
Okay, yeah, I don't know where we got. I'm on Starlink, so I don't know what's going on. I apologize about that.
So, oh, no problem. No problem at all. Let me see what we got. So I'll pick up on this question. Yeah, don't worry. Did any let me see, Strongman Days. Okay. So how about what match or moment in the WWE are you most proud of?
Oh man. There was a lot of really crazy ones, but like now for me, with the career and the unfortunate things that happened in life, was the swamp match I had with Bray Wyatt, my former tag partner that passed away a couple years ago and stuff like that. It was our opportunity, then the only opportunity really that we got to go out there and do our style stuff, what we like to do, even though we still had our hands tied a little bit on it. But having that opportunity, and for me, that match was special because he taught me so much in my career at that point, getting to there. And it was opportunity for me to showcase the skills that my coach, my teacher had been able to bestow upon me. We went out there and made a cinematographic, however you say, piece, in my opinion. Some fans didn't like it, some loved it, and stuff like that. But it was a crazy process of like a 36-hour shoot day. I ended up in the hospital at the end of it because we filmed all night. I collapsed from dehydration at the end of it, stuff like that, with full body cramps. It took 4 liters of fluid to get me to stop cramping after it and things like that, and then showed right back up in Monday Night Raw the very next day. So, yeah, I don't know, just being in the trenches with him. And then, unfortunately losing him a couple years ago. So, like, without a doubt, like, that one's going to be very, very special to me forever.
Oh, that's amazing, man. That's amazing. Out of all the titles that you have, Adam, is there one that means something more than the other ones when it just emotionally?
Honestly, I mean, they're all so special. When you're talking about like a company and WWE and the caliber of what it is and the global entity that it is, any opportunity that you hold to represent anything that has of merit with that company is special. I mean, I've usually said I'm winning the Universal Championship at WrestleMania, beating Goldberg for that. It's like, I mean, he's one of my childhood icons, to be able to share the ring with him, much less beat his ass in 4 minutes for the title, stuff like that. I mean, winning the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial Royale was special because Andre is my top of the totem pole, or Mount Rushmore. There's 4 Andre the Giants on it. Stuff like that. I mean, honestly, they were all so cool. Winning the tag team titles with a 10-year-old in New Orleans was unbelievable, in front of 78,000 people. My mom and dad front row watching all that stuff, man. It's just, dude, man, it's just so many crazy memories now. Like I said, stepping out and being away from the game for a little bit, and you really have a time to wrap your head around and kind of chew on that what all went down in your career and all this stuff. And it's just like constantly giggling to myself, 'cause I've done so many crazy things that went unbelievably viral, from, flipping over these ambulances to breaking TV rating records that haven't been broken in I don't know how long, and all this other stuff. And now leading up to having my own freaking television show where I travel around the country eating unbelievable meals. It's crazy. That's what I said. I mean, next week premieres, like I said, scratch my head. How on earth did I get here? But how blessed I am, as I said, the great relationship I have with USA Network from my WWE career, now being able to continue with USA Network with everything on the menu on that show and stuff like that. It's just, this hillbilly from Scherr, North Carolina, constantly has to pinch himself thinking if this is a dream or if this is reality.
Yeah, you mentioned your new TV show. What's the name of your new TV show that's coming out?
It's called Everything on the Menu with Braun Strowman. It premieres October 24th on USA Network. Right after following SmackDown, they're doing a double shot on the first week. So we did 8 episodes the first season. We did Washington, D.C., New Orleans, Orlando, Tampa, Vegas, Fort Worth, Milwaukee, and Chicago. So got to eat some of the most iconic places around the country. And the premise behind the show is, the synopsis of the show, I do 2 restaurants every episode. One is like a signature dish for the city. All these restaurants have been open 50, 60 plus years. Like I got to do Ben's Chili Bowl in Washington, D.C., which is a staple in the community. Has been there for 68 years, all through the human rights movements, all this stuff. And I got to sit down and speak with Miss Virginia Ali, 91 years old, the owner of that restaurant, and just listening to the stories and all the craziness that's gone through with the history of that. And then literally you sit down and you take a bite of this spicy hot dog they do, and it's a time capsule. It hasn't changed any in 68 years. They're doing the exact same thing. So you're getting this history of Americana, and then what a conversation, just as I said, with speaking with her. And then, so like I said, the premise on the show is every episode I do 2 restaurants. The first is a signature dish. So restaurants like that, for some people are familiar, some aren't with them, but all of them are 50, 60 years old. Excuse me. And then the following restaurant is more of the hot spot in the city that we're in, or up and coming, or like what people are talking about. And then the premise behind the show is, think about how many times you've gone out to eat at like a nice restaurant, or any restaurant per se, and you're looking at food come out and you're like, man, that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. You're looking at the menu. Everything's overwhelming. You can't make up your mind. Everything looks so good. Well, I have that same problem, but instead of having to make up my mind, I just order everything on the menu and then bring out this giant smorgasbord of food, and I just go to town on it. Some of the restaurants, I was able to eat everything that they had on the menu, some not even close. But it was just fun in between, and then getting to interact with the fans, or the customers, because I kind of just bombard on customers while they're in there eating, and have fun talking with them, getting in the kitchen with the chefs and the servers and all that, learning the behind the scenes, what goes into the dishes, getting my hands dirty with it, having fun along the way, and then, man, just getting to really pig out, which is great for me because I'm so strict on my diet. 99% of the time, I'm weighing everything out to the gram. I'm eating all this boring baked fish and chicken and stuff like that. So it was a really nice relief when I got to do this show to have, break from that mundane clean eating to really just diverge into debauchery when it comes to eating food. I don't know how else to put it. So I think it's really going to show, and it's going to be fun for the fans to see as well, because I'm not this educated chef, culinary whiz. I'm just a dang redneck that had a cool job, that got to travel around the world and try all kinds of different foods, and was so blessed with that. And then now an opportunity to do it again. And then I think I like to describe myself as kind of more blue collar. Like, I don't know a bunch of these fancy terms, but I know what it tastes like to me, and I know how to describe it in my thoughts. And I think like it's going to connect with a lot more of the casual fan and the people that are wanting to learn, or on their journey into, finer culinary dining and stuff like that. So there's definitely get used to a lot of me closing my eyes and a lot of caveman grunting and very primal when it comes. But I think that's what really shines through on the show, and I think that's what's going to resonate with a lot of the fans. And I sure hope so, because I enjoy doing it, and I'm ready to USA Network let's go for season 2.
So that's amazing, man. I'm gonna let you know right now before we continue to keep moving. I'm from Washington, D.C., and I've had everything on the menu in Ben's Chili Bowl. Miss Ali, I know Mrs. Ali as well.
That's
She's
awesome.
a good friend of mine.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was special to me.
That's a great man.
She had me tearing up at the end of the episode. She's like, the Lord blessed me with 3 boys throughout my life. She's like, I feel like I got another one today, and hugged me, kissed me on the cheek, and she melted this monster's heart, man, that night. I tell you what, she was such an unbelievable treat to be able there and sit down and talk to. It was a really special time for me.
Oh, that's unbelievable. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. When it comes back to your your craft, your creativity, Adam, is there like a signature move that a lot of people don't know about that you might secretively use when performing?
I mean, there was all kinds of stuff I never did that I could do. Like people don't understand. I can do a moonsault off the top rope. I can do a good bit, a bunch of the high flyer stuff, but it just doesn't really make sense. So I like teasing. I'll post a video every once in a while doing a backflip off of something here or there and things like that. But as far as what I gave in the wrestling ring, the fans, they come to know they're superstars. They know, like you said, you look at Cena, you look at all these guys that have these crazy careers, and you know what they're going to do, and that's what the fans anticipate. I know what my fans want to see. They want to see me rip my shirt off. They want to see me flex my 25-inch biceps, and they want to see me power slam some soul in the middle of the ring for 1, 2, 3. So if it ain't broke, what's the old saying? Don't break it.
That's right. If it ain't broke, don't break.
Welcome to the next row.